Breaking news. How American mixed martial arts muscle went Russian propagandist. The story of Jeff Monson. Veteran MMA fighter and former UFC title challenger Jeff Monson arrived at the U.S. consulate in Istanbul on May 23, 2023, and formally cut ties with the country of his birth. "I renounced my U.S. citizenship because of the politics of this country," Monson told the Russian state-owned media agency TASS after turning in his American passport at the consulate. "All my hopes and dreams are tied to staying in Russia. My citizenship has expired, and I am no longer an American. It's just that I'm a Russian." The 52-year-old Monson's decision to renounce his U.S. citizenship marks the end of a bizarre career trajectory that has seen him go from American muscle to Russian wartime propagandist. Street. Paul, Minnesota-born Monson began his career as a psychologist specializing in trauma in children before transitioning to a career in combat sports. With his victory at the 1999 Abu Dhabi Combat Club Championship, he immediately became one of the best submission grapplers in the world. A surprisingly mild moniker for a 240-pound fighter with "Destroy Authority" tattooed around his neck, he also earned the name the Snowman. After losing to Chuck Liddell, who would go on to become a major star in the UFC, the promotion released Monson from his contract in 2000. Monson was undeterred and fought his way back into the organization, where he eventually went 3-0 and earned a shot at the heavyweight title. When Monson lost to champion Tim Sylvia at UFC 65 in 2006, it was the final straw that sent him packing. After that, Monson was known as one of the sport's top mercenaries, willing to compete for any promotion that would pay him. In the next 10 years, Monson fought for 40 or so MMA promotions in a dozen or so nations. Russia was included in this because it was the site of a fight that would forever alter his course. In 2011, Monson agreed to face Fedor Emelianenko, the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world from Russia. Vladimir Putin watched the fight at the Olympic Arena in Moscow. Monson elected to keep fighting despite suffering a broken leg during the course of the match. Putin praised Monson's performance, saying he exemplified the Russian spirit. Monson kept fighting in Russia, where he rapidly rose to prominence as a fan favorite. Monson had applied for Russian citizenship by 2015. He explained his decision in an editorial he wrote for Newsweek the following year. "It was because of my solidarity with the Russian people," which Monson says he felt upon his first trip to Russia in 2011. "The instant I stepped inside, I knew this was my home, the one place in the world where I could finally relax and be myself. And I was as taken aback as any other American would have been." In 2016, Monson, a self-proclaimed anarchist, entered the political arena in Russia by becoming a special representative of the Communist Party of the Russian Federation Sports Club. Several months later, in early 2022, Russia annexed the pro-Russian occupied region of eastern Ukraine known as the Luhansk People's Republic, which had declared independence from Ukraine but was not recognized internationally. Following in the footsteps of American boxing great Roy Jones Jr. and Canadian actor Steven Seagal, Monson was granted Russian citizenship by Putin in 2018. In the same year, he won a seat in the legislature of Krasnogorsk, a small city not far from Moscow. Monson was a candidate for office under the ruling party United Russia, of which Putin is the de facto leader, despite his history of Communist Party membership. Monson's views on the U.S. government and, in particular, Washington's foreign policy, have hardened over the past few years. His criticism of American social, economic, and political policy has won him fans in Russia's state-controlled media, to the point where he now has his own program, Monson TV, on the government-funded Russia Today. The Russian invasion of Ukraine, however, is what truly established Monson as a Kremlin propagandist. In April 2022, Putin's All-Russia People's Front released a series of videos in which Monson repeated Kremlin propaganda that the country wanted to rid Ukraine of fascism. In the future, he worked with RT correspondent Donald Corder to produce a documentary that portrayed Russia as the savior of the Donbass, an area of eastern Ukraine that is partially occupied by Russia due to the ongoing war.